There comes a time in your life when the ordinary no longer satisfies your soul. A silent tug begins to stir inside, calling you towards something deeper, something more powerful than what the eyes can see or the mind can explain. This pull is not from this world, it's from the divine. It whispers through sleepless nights and restless thoughts. It calls to the part of you that has been waiting to wake up. If you feel it, don't ignore it. This is your time. This is your shift. You are not reading this by accident. You've been drawn here by design. Every challenge you've faced, every tear you've shed, and every silent prayer you've whispered has led you here. You have not been wandering aimlessly. Even in your confusion, even in your darkest moments, you were being guided. You were being refined. The fire didn't come to destroy you, it came to shape you. Your scars are not proof of weakness but of survival. They are evidence that you've been through hell and still carry heaven within you. You are chosen, not because you have all the answers, but because you have the capacity to carry truth when the world is drowning in lies. There is a war happening all around us, but it's not a war of weapons, it's a war of influence. The enemy doesn't need to break your body, he only needs to steal your focus. That's why everything around you tries to distract you, drain you, or delay you. Because when a chosen one wakes up, darkness loses its grip. That's what you are, a chosen one. Not just to survive the chaos, but to rise above it and become the voice that shifts atmospheres. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to stand out. You are the light that can pierce the shadows. Don't believe the lie that you are too broken, too late, or too ordinary. There is nothing ordinary about a soul called by God. The power within you is not something you created, it's something placed in you before you were born. The dreams you've buried, the callings you've ignored, the visions you've had but never voiced, they're all waking up now. You feel it because it's real. Heaven is stirring you. The question is not whether God is speaking. The question is, are you listening? This is the season where everything hidden will be revealed. What was once confusing will become clear. The fog you've been walking through is lifting. God is pulling back the curtain to show you what's really happening. This isn't just about your life, it's about your legacy. You were born to shift generations. Your obedience will bless people you haven't even met yet. That's how powerful your yes can be. You don't need a platform to be powerful. You don't need fame to be effective. You don't need permission to walk in purpose. All you need is alignment. When you align with what heaven has spoken over your life, doors open, chains break, and favor flows. But alignment requires action. You can't sit still and expect the shift to carry you forward. You must move. You must speak. You must rise. The time for waiting is over. This is the season to step into who you truly are. You've felt the pressure increase because the promise is close. Pressure is not punishment, it's proof of potential. Diamonds are made in the dark, under weight, in silence. You are being pressed not to break you, but to birth something through you. Something the world desperately needs. Your words, your wisdom, your fire, your presence. You are not here to take up space. You are here to occupy purpose. Look around. The world is changing, fast. And beneath the chaos is a spiritual shift that most people can't see. But you do. You've sensed it. You've felt the atmosphere changing. That's because you are spiritually sensitive, and that's a gift. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the still small voice inside you. That voice is your compass. It's the voice of truth in a world full of confusion. Listen to it. Trust it. Follow it. You're not being awakened for comfort. You're being awakened for combat. The battles you've been facing were never just about you, they were about everything connected to you. Your calling, your influence, your future. That's why the resistance has been so intense. Because if you ever truly knew who you are, if you ever really walked in your authority, you would shake the very foundations of darkness. And now, that time has come. No more second guessing, no more shrinking, no more apologizing for your anointing. You carry something divine, and the world needs it. The enemy has tried to silence you, shame you, and distract you. But he failed. You're still here, and you're stronger than you realize. What was sent to destroy you has only deepened your discernment. You see through deception now. You feel truth in your bones. That's not paranoia, that's prophecy. Technology, media, trends, they're not just tools anymore. They're battlegrounds. Every scroll, every post, every comment, it's all part of a spiritual strategy. You're not just a user of social platforms. You're a messenger. Your voice is a weapon. Your content is a message. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be present, bold, and obedient. God will take your voice and amplify it. Even one post, one story, one video can spark revival in someone's soul. This isn't about followers. It's about faith. It's about stepping into your purpose even when no one claps. Even when it feels unseen. Heaven sees you. Heaven backs you. You are not alone. There are angels assigned to you. There is favor surrounding you. Every time you wanted to give up and didn't, you were proving to the universe that you're ready. Ready for more. Ready to lead. Ready to build. Ready to break chains not just for you, but for everyone connected to your obedience. Don't underestimate your presence. When you walk into a room, energy shifts. When you speak, hearts listen. When you pray, heaven responds. You were never just another face in the crowd. You are marked, chosen, appointed, and now anointed to move forward without fear. The world may not understand you. That's okay. You weren't made to be understood by the world. You were made to reflect the glory of the one who sent you. If you feel tired, don't quit. Rest, but don't retreat. Your exhaustion is not weakness, it's a sign that you've been fighting hard. Take it to God. Let Him refill you. Let Him restore your soul. You don't have to carry this alone. The weight was never meant to crush you, it was meant to bring you to your knees, where you'll find strength again. In the quiet, you'll hear Him. In the stillness, you'll know what to do next. Don't rush the process. Trust the preparation. Everything you need is already inside you. It's time to activate it. Time to speak up. Time to take that step you've been delaying. The door is already open. All that's left is for you to walk through it. You've been hidden for a reason. Protected from things you didn't even know could hurt you. Covered in ways that didn't make sense until now. And now, God is saying, the hiding season is over. The revealing has begun. What you carry will heal, deliver, and transform. But first, you must believe it for yourself. There is no more time to waste. The world is in desperate need of the real, the raw, the redeemed. Not the polished, not the perfect, just the willing. That's who you are. Willing to go when it's hard. Willing to speak when it's uncomfortable. Willing to love when it's unpopular. You are the answer to someone's silent cry. This is not the end, it's the beginning. A new chapter has opened, and it's one you were born to write. Your story, your pain, your purpose, it all matters. Don't let fear rob you of your voice. Don't let doubt stop you from moving forward. You have everything you need. The fire, the faith, the favor, and now, the world is waiting. Heaven is watching. The time is now. You are not just living in history, you are making it. You are not just waking up, you are rising. This is your moment. Take it. Own it. Walk in it. You were born for this. The moment you decided not to give up was the moment your transformation began. It didn't feel like a victory at the time. Maybe you were still crying, still hurting, still unsure, but your spirit stood up even when your body wanted to collapse. That's what separates the chosen ones from the rest. You may bend, but you don't break. And even when you're broken, you become even more dangerous to the forces trying to stop you. Because a broken vessel in the hands of God becomes an unstoppable force. The second wind you've been waiting for is already breathing through your life. It might not show up with fireworks and signs, it may arrive quietly, as a sudden burst of peace, a renewed strength in the middle of chaos, or a whisper of clarity during your prayer. That's how heaven works. Not always loud, not always dramatic, but always precise. You're not being rebuilt randomly. You're being reconstructed for something exact. Every spiritual attack you've endured is because of the specific anointing you carry. The enemy doesn't waste his efforts. He knows who you are, even if you've forgotten. And now is not the time to keep forgetting. Now is the time to remember. To remember what you were created for. To recall the vision God gave you in the quiet hours of your youth. Remember the boldness you once had, before the world made you shrink. Remember the fire that used to burn, before disappointment tried to drown it. You are being called back to that original flame, not the old version of you, but the divine imprint placed in your soul before the noise of life tried to mute it. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It needs the real you. The raw, true, awakened version. Not the one hiding behind fear or trying to meet everyone's expectations. But the one who is tired of pretending. The one who is ready to step out and speak up. The one who knows that silence is no longer an option. The one who knows that passivity is a trap. You weren't created to sit on the sidelines while darkness takes center stage. You were created to disrupt it. To tear down the lies and raise up the light. But disruption isn't comfortable. It will cost you your comfort zone. It may cost you relationships, approval, and applause. But it will give you something far more powerful: peace. The peace that comes from knowing you're finally walking in what you were born for. The peace that settles over your heart when you stop trying to control the outcome and simply say, God, use me. That surrender is your superpower. Because when you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you become exactly who God needs you to be. You may not see the full path ahead, but clarity is not a requirement for obedience. Faith isn't about certainty, it's about trust. Trusting that if you keep moving, the steps will appear. Trusting that even when the way feels shaky, the ground beneath you is held by holy hands. You are not alone. You've never been alone. Heaven has been watching, waiting, guiding. And now it's time to move with conviction, not convenience. The miracles you've prayed for, they're not waiting on God. They're waiting on your movement. Your yes, your alignment. Heaven moves in sync with your obedience. What you call delay might actually be divine protection. What felt like rejection was redirection. You didn't lose what was meant for you. You're being prepared to receive it in a way that won't destroy you. Because God doesn't just give blessings. He gives foundations strong enough to carry them. And you, chosen one, are being made into a foundation. Not just for yourself, but for others. There are people assigned to your life who won't find freedom until you walk in yours. People whose healing will come through your testimony. Whose purpose will be activated when they hear your story. That's why your voice matters. That's why your journey matters. And that's why the enemy has fought so hard to silence you. But he failed. You're still here. And now, it's time to be louder than your fear. It's time to let go of everything that's been keeping you small. The shame, the guilt, the false beliefs, the idea that you're not enough. Because you are more than enough when heaven lives in you. You're not defined by what you've done. You're defined by what you've overcome. And you've overcome more than most people know. You've carried burdens in silence. You've held hope in your heart while your world fell apart. That kind of strength can't be taught. It's forged. You were never weak. You were in training. Every delay, every heartbreak, every night you questioned your worth, it was refining your faith, strengthening your spirit, and shaping your soul into one that could carry a higher calling. And now that calling is knocking again. Will you answer it? This next chapter isn't about titles. It's about truth. It's about living fully awake, fully present, and fully committed to your divine assignment. It's about living with purpose, not pressure. With focus, not fear. And yes, there will still be trials. Yes, there will be spiritual warfare. But you won't face them the same way. You've grown. You're equipped. You know who fights for you now. You don't panic, you pray. You don't fold, you fast. You don't retreat, you rise. This is the rise. Not a rise to popularity, but a rise to power. Not human power, but heavenly power. The kind that comes when you've lost everything except your faith, and still choose to believe. That's when heaven fills you. That's when you become unstoppable. That's when you walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. When your presence becomes a signal to darkness that light has entered the place. You are not average. You are activated. You are not confused. You are called. You are not empty. You are empowered. You are not late. You are right on time. You are not invisible. You are seen, known, and chosen. Now breathe and step forward, because what's coming will not wait for your comfort. It will only respond to your courage. New level requires new discernment. You'll have to walk away from good things to make room for God things. You'll need to say no more often to protect the yes that matters. You'll have to detach from what drains you and commit to what fuels you. Your energy is sacred. Your mind is sacred. Your time is sacred. Treat it like the treasure it is. Set boundaries not out of bitterness but out of wisdom. Stop giving access to people who only want your presence but not your growth. This next move requires focus. A kind of tunnel vision that's uncomfortable but necessary. Because clarity is the currency of destiny. If you're unclear, you're vulnerable. If you're focused, you're dangerous in the best way. And remember, this isn't about perfection. God isn't using you because you're flawless. He's using you because you're available. Because you said yes. Because you were willing to be made, broken, healed, and sent. Your obedience is the door. The miracles walk through it. So don't worry about being enough. God's power fills every gap. You just need to show up. The anointing will do the rest. There are doors opening now that no man can shut. There are connections aligning that you didn't have to chase. There is favor chasing you because you finally stopped running from your purpose. This is what it means to walk in divine alignment. You don't beg for blessings. You become a magnet for them. Not because you're lucky, but because you're living in truth. The noise of the world will still try to pull you back. But now you know better. You've tasted the presence of God. You've felt the fire in your spirit. You can't go back to empty pleasures and shallow approval. You were made for more. And now you're walking in it. Even when it's quiet, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard. Because deep down, you've made a decision. You're not living for the crowd, you're living for the calling. And in this calling, you'll find rest. Not the kind that comes from doing nothing, but the kind that comes from doing the right thing. When you're in alignment, even hard things become holy. Even warfare becomes worship. Because you're no longer operating in your strength, you're moving in God's. Let your life speak now. Not just your words, but your walk. Let people see the shift without you explaining it. Let your peace be loud. Let your fruit speak for itself. You've spent enough time explaining, defending, proving. That season is over. Now you produce. Now you move. Now you lead. Quietly, powerfully, purposefully. And when fear tries to creep in, and it will remind yourself, I've come too far. I've fought too hard. I've healed too deeply. I'm not going back. Not now. Not ever. There are generations attached to your yes. There are prayers that will be answered because you decided to obey. There are chains that will break, atmospheres that will shift, and destinies that will activate because you stood up, showed up, and spoke up. You are not the person you used to be. And thank God for that. You've grown. You've surrendered. You've awakened. You've been tested and proven. And now, you walk in authority not because of who you are, but because of who sent you. So go, with fire in your heart and truth in your hands. With wisdom as your guide and peace as your protector. Go, not to seek glory but to reflect it. Go, because the world needs what you carry. You were born for this. And now you are ready. You are entering a chapter that was written before the foundation of the world. A chapter that only you can live out. Not because you're the most qualified by earthly standards, but because your spirit was crafted for this very moment. You are not random. Your life is not accidental. Every breath you take is part of a divine rhythm that has been playing long before you were even aware of the music. And now, you are beginning to move in sync with it. That inner sense of timing you feel, that sudden awareness that something must shift, is not imaginary. It's your spirit recognizing divine alignment. It's God's rhythm awakening in your soul. There are seasons that don't make sense until you look back. Moments that felt like endings that were actually disguised beginnings. That heartbreak, it cracked you open so healing could reach places you buried. That failure, it rerouted you before destruction could find you. That delay, it was divine, sparing you from a door that looked like a blessing but hid a burden. You've cried over things that you were actually saved from. But now, you're starting to understand. And with understanding comes peace, not the kind that depends on circumstances, but the kind that anchors you through storms. There is a kind of peace that the world can't offer and can't take away. It doesn't come from everything going right. It comes from knowing that even when things fall apart, you won't. Because your foundation isn't made of public approval, personal ambition, or temporary success. It's built on purpose. And purpose doesn't panic. Purpose doesn't quit. Purpose doesn't compare. It endures. And so do you. In this new season, your endurance will look like grace. Grace to keep going when others fold. Grace to forgive when bitterness wants to take root. Grace to grow even when no one claps for your progress. Grace to let go of what no longer serves your soul. Some doors must close, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown them. And that's not rejection, it's graduation. Don't mourn what you're meant to move on from. There is more ahead. You're not the same person you were last year. You're not even the same person you were last month. Every test refined you. Every storm matured you. You are evolving into the version of yourself that God always saw even when you couldn't. And now that version is emerging. Stronger, clearer, quieter, fiercer. You've learned that real power doesn't shout. It stands. It speaks only when necessary. It flows, not forces. That's the kind of strength you carry now. People may not understand the quiet strength you're walking in. They might mistake your peace for passivity, your silence for weakness. Let them. You don't owe the world explanations when you're aligned with revelation. You are not living to be understood, you are living to be obedient. The fruit will speak. The favor will confirm. The results will reveal what words never could. This new season will not look like the last. You've passed the tests you didn't know were exams. You've graduated from survival mode into strategic movement. You're no longer reacting to life. You're responding to purpose. You move different when you know who you are. You speak differently when your voice carries purpose. You love differently when your heart is healed. And you walk differently when you know who walks with you. Your walk has weight now. Your steps shift environments. You are not walking into spaces empty, you are walking in with power. Every room you enter, heaven enters with you. Every conversation you engage, the Spirit flows through you. You are not a passive participant in the world anymore. You are a vessel of divine intention. You carry answers. You bring clarity. You host peace. And yes, it's a heavy responsibility. But it's also holy. You've been entrusted with influence not to control, but to create. Not to dominate, but to deliver. There are people in your life right now who are starving for truth, but they don't know how to ask for it. They won't say it, but they're waiting for you. Your authenticity, your courage, your consistency. You don't need to preach, you just need to be real. That's where transformation starts. That's where revival begins. With one person willing to live out what others only talk about. So live it. Live with integrity when no one's watching. Live with discipline when no one is applauding. Live with faith even when fear seems easier. Because you're not living for temporary approval, you're living for eternal impact. Every seed you plant in obedience will bloom in God's timing. Every sacrifice you make in silence will echo in eternity. Nothing is wasted. Every small yes is part of a massive movement. Even when you don't see the fruit, trust the root is growing. Some days you will feel invisible. Some days you will feel overwhelmed. Some days you will wonder if it's worth it. It is. You are. Every prayer you've whispered in the dark has been heard. Every time you kept going when no one noticed was seen. Heaven watches, and heaven remembers. And when the time is right, what was hidden will be honored. Not for glory, but for impact. Not for pride, but for purpose. This is not the time to shrink. This is not the time to slow down. This is the time to stand tall in truth. The louder the lies, the stronger your light must shine. You don't need to fight every battle. Just stay planted in truth, and the lies will expose themselves. You don't need to chase influence. Just be obedient, and the right doors will open. You don't need to prove your worth. You are already worthy, because God says so. Let your identity be rooted in what is eternal. Not in status, not in success, not in what you own or who affirms you, but in the truth that you are divinely designed, intentionally placed, and eternally significant. You are more than your resume, more than your past, more than your mistakes. You are more than enough. And now, you must walk in that truth daily. In your thoughts, in your choices, in your actions, in how you speak about yourself, in how you treat others. Truth is not a feeling, it's a foundation. Build your life on it. Let every brick you lay in this season be built with intention. No more random efforts. No more scattered goals. No more wasted energy. You are building legacy now. This isn't about what the world calls success. It's about what heaven calls significant. And heaven defines success differently. It's not how many follow you, but how many you serve. Not how much you own, but how much you obey. Not how loudly you speak, but how consistently you live. You are redefining what it means to live a life of purpose. The people who once overlooked you will soon wonder how you endured. But you'll know it wasn't your strength. It was your surrender. It was your discipline when no one watched. It was your faith when nothing made sense. And above all, it was grace. Grace carried you here. Grace will carry you forward. Don't be surprised when the doors open. Don't hesitate when the invitations come. Don't hold back when the stage is set. You didn't come this far to stop now. You came this far to be launched, to be lifted, to be released into fullness. And in that fullness, you will know peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because you finally are whole, ready, called, sent. You will begin to notice a shift, not just around you, but within you. The thoughts that once held you hostage no longer have the same power. The voices of doubt may still whisper, but they don't shake you like they used to. That's how you know transformation is happening. Real transformation doesn't always shout. It settles in, quietly changing the atmosphere of your soul until your inner world becomes stronger than anything external. You'll wake up one day and realize the fears that once paralyzed you now pass through you like wind felt, but no longer followed. This is the becoming, the sacred, hidden process of evolving into the person you were always meant to be. It's not dramatic. It's daily. It's choosing to show up in truth even when everything around you invites compromise. It's refusing to shrink back into safety when your soul was made to expand into destiny. You are not becoming someone new, you are shedding everything that was never you to begin with. The masks, the false roles, the survival habits, they all fall away as the light inside you grows stronger. The light within you isn't fragile. It's divine. It doesn't flicker in storms, it intensifies. When pain surrounds you, when uncertainty tries to cloud your vision, that's when your light becomes a flame. That's when your truth roars. You've been taught to fear the fire, but now you understand, the fire is where your power is formed. You are not running from it anymore. You are walking through it, and you are walking out of it transformed. Don't expect everyone to understand your fire. Some people were only meant to know you before you awakened. Their version of you is frozen in a past you've already outgrown. And that's okay. Release them with love. Let them go without bitterness. Not everyone who walked with you then can stand with you now. And not because you're better, but because your mission is different. Your path requires a purity of purpose, and not all company strengthens that calling. You will be misunderstood. You will be talked about. You will be questioned. But none of that matters when you are walking in truth. What matters is obedience. What matters is legacy. What matters is impact. You weren't made to be comfortable. You were made to be contagious, your courage sparking others to rise, your voice breaking chains, your life reflecting light that can't be dimmed. Every step you take in alignment draws the right people, the right moments, the right resources. You don't have to chase. What is for you cannot miss you when you are moving in obedience. You don't have to fear missing your moment when you're guided by the one who made time. Rest in that. Rest in knowing that divine timing is not delayed timing. It's precise, it's intentional, and it's unfolding right now. Sometimes the breakthrough won't feel like an explosion, it'll feel like clarity. Like peace, like suddenly knowing what to do next without a 5-step plan. That's God, that's alignment, that's what happens when your spirit is finally quiet enough to hear direction. It doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes it looks like stillness that speaks louder than anything else. That's the kind of clarity you're stepping into now. This is your era of clarity and conviction. Not just knowing what you're called to do, but doing it without flinching. Without apologizing. Without doubting your own preparation. You didn't get here overnight. You paid a price. You endured seasons no one saw. You sowed in silence. You healed when it hurt. And now, the harvest is inevitable. It may not all come at once, but it will come. In waves. In moments. In doors you never expected, and in favor you didn't ask for but were always meant to carry. You are not stepping into this next level alone. The presence that carried you through your lowest valley is the same presence going before you now. You've always been surrounded. You've always been covered. The pain made you forget, but the healing is making you remember. You are not abandoned. You are appointed. You are not forsaken. You are filled. The same hands that held you in the dark are now lifting you into the light. People will ask you how you did it. They'll ask what changed, and you won't point to a product, a platform, or a plan. You'll point to the process. The sacred, silent, unseen process. That's where it all happened. That's where you became unshakable. That's where your character grew faster than your influence, and your roots grew deeper than your reach. That's where you realized that popularity fades, but purpose sustains. That's where the real transformation took place. You no longer need validation to feel valuable. You've detached your worth from results. You've removed your identity from what you can produce and rooted it in who you are becoming. That's maturity. That's mastery. And from this place, your influence will not just increase, it will impact. Because it's no longer about being seen. It's about seeing others. About being a lighthouse, not just a spotlight. That's leadership born in the spirit. You don't need to force doors to open when you've been handed the keys. And you have. The keys to breakthrough, to healing, to wisdom, to peace. Not because you earned them, but because you endured. Because you didn't stop. Because even when you questioned everything, you kept walking. Even when you were unsure, you kept believing. Even when your voice shook, you kept speaking. That's why the keys are yours. Use them now, not just to enter new places, but to free others still trapped in old ones. Your testimony is a tool. Your scars are sacred, they are maps for those still lost in the pain you've survived. Share them, shine them, don't sanitize your story. Your rawness is what makes it real. That's what breaks chains. Not perfection, transparency. That's what this world needs. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are exactly what this season calls for. Bold, broken open, beautifully becoming. Everything that happened made you more ready, not less. You didn't miss your moment, you were being molded for it. And now, your hands are steady. Your eyes are clear. Your heart is aligned. You're ready. You've entered the deeper waters now. The shallow places can't hold you anymore. You're swimming in spaces where faith is your only compass. And that's exactly where you're meant to be. That's where trust becomes real. That's where ego dies and true vision begins. You are not flailing. You are flowing. The waves are not drowning you, they're carrying you. And when the winds rise and the waves get higher, remember you are not in this alone. The same power that walked on water walks with you. You are never without help. You are never without hope. And hope, real hope, doesn't disappoint. It anchors you when everything around you tries to pull you under. That's the kind of hope you carry now. Let that hope speak louder than your history. Let your expectation be louder than your explanation. You don't need to explain this shift. You only need to live it. Loudly, clearly, authentically. Let the new you speak for itself. You are in motion now. Not running, not striving, flowing. Faith is your rhythm. Obedience is your song. And destiny is unfolding with every step. Keep going. There's more.